When Nadia's engagement ended, she was back at work 3 days later. Hair done, emails answered, smiling in meetings. "Wow," her coworker said. "You're handling this so well. You're so strong." Nadia nodded, because explaining that she cried in her car every morning before walking into the building felt unnecessary. This is the story of a woman who was praised for being strong and slowly disappeared because of it. Nadia was 31 when Daniel left. No screaming, no dramatic betrayal, just a quiet conversation at the kitchen table. "I don't think this is working anymore." 6 years, wedding venue booked, guest list half finished. And just like that, she was alone in an apartment filled with joint furniture and shared memories. The next day, she canceled vendors, called her parents, packed his things into labeled boxes. She functioned. That's what everyone noticed. At work, people kept their voices soft around her. "If you need time, just say it. You're honestly handling this better than I would." She became an example. "Be like Nadia," someone joked in the break room. "So mature." No one saw her eating dinner standing over the sink at 10 p.m. because sitting at the table felt unbearable. No one saw her scrolling through old photos at 1 a.m., zooming in on details, looking for the moment it started falling apart. They only saw the version of her that showed up on time. Her mother called every night. "Are you okay?" "I'm okay." Her younger sister cried about her own relationship drama. "You're lucky you're strong," her sister said once. "I'd be a mess." Nadia stared at the ceiling after that call. She wanted to say, "I am a mess." But she didn't, because if she broke too, who would be steady? 2 months later, she attended a mutual friend's birthday dinner. Daniel was there. He looked relaxed, laughing, telling stories. Someone whispered to her in the bathroom, "He seems totally fine." Nadia smiled into the mirror. "So am I." But on the drive home, her hands shook on the steering wheel. It wasn't that he looked happy. It was that everyone expected her to look unbothered too, as if heartbreak had an expiration date. The real breaking point didn't happen at work or at dinner. It happened on a random Sunday afternoon. Her sink was full of dishes, laundry unfolded on the couch, her phone buzzing with 3 different conversations she didn't have energy to answer. She sat on the floor, not crying, just staring. And for the first time, she admitted something she had been avoiding. "I am exhausted from pretending I'm okay." The exhaustion wasn't from the breakup anymore. It was from performing strength. The next day at work, her manager asked gently, "How are you holding up?" The automatic answer rose up. "I'm good." She paused. It felt uncomfortable, vulnerable. "Honestly," she said, "it's been harder than I expected." There was no dramatic reaction, just a simple, "I'm really sorry. Let me know if you need flexibility." That was it. The world didn't collapse. No one looked disappointed. She walked back to her desk feeling strangely lighter. That night, when her best friend texted, "You're so strong. I admire you," Nadia typed something different. "I don't feel strong. I feel tired." The typing dots appeared. Then, "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because you already decided who I was," she almost replied. Instead, she said, "I didn't want to disappoint anyone." Her friend called immediately, not to vent, not to talk about herself, just to listen. And for the first time in months, Nadia didn't edit her feelings. She realized something simple but painful. People weren't ignoring her pain. They were following her lead. She had taught them she could handle it, so they believed her. Strength had become her identity, and identities are hard to break, but not impossible. They called her strong, but strength doesn't mean you don't need support. It doesn't mean healing happens faster, and it definitely doesn't mean you have to carry heartbreak quietly to prove maturity. Sometimes the strongest thing you can say is, "I'm not okay." Not because you're weak, but because you're human. If you've ever been labeled strong while silently falling apart, share your story in the comments. I read every single one. Thank you for spending this time with me on Stories by Elle. If you want more real stories about quiet strength and healing, subscribe and turn on notifications. Until next time, you don't have to suffer in silence just to be respected.